Okay, let's see if this is recording. It looks like it is. Today is August 10th, 2014. I'm Susan West, and I'm here in Buxton talking with Melodi Gray Schwartz. Melodi, where were you born and where did you grow up?
I was born in Buxton, November 18th, 1956, at the old hospital.
And that was over by where the Fezziton Center is?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And did you live in Buxton?
No, I lived in Hatteras Village.
Okay. What were your parents' names?
My father is Hal Gray, and my mother is Winona Peel.
Okay. And did they grow up in Hatteras?
Yeah, both of them were born in Hatteras Village.
Okay. And what did they do for a living?
Well, many things. My father had many jobs. He, I think probably one of the first jobs he had, I don't know if it was the very first, but one of the ones I remember was he worked at the Pine Burr.
What was that?
It's the Exxon station in Hatteras, right across from, it used to be right across from the midget realty office.
Oh, okay.
It's owned by my father's uncle, my grandfather's brother, and Harold Gray. And then he was a Dare County sheriff, and then he owned the Atlantic View restaurant and hotel.
Okay. And that was sort of on the outskirts of the village there where Hatteras Realty has their office now?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
He originally owned, it's Rocco's Restaurant, Rocco's Pizza now.
Okay.
And he originally owned that and the old hotel beside it. And then they sold that and built a new one, which is Hatteras Realty now.
Okay. And the Atlantic View, that was one of the oldest places in the village for tourists and fishermen to stay, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Okay.
That might have been the first hotel
In
on the island.
village. Okay.
Yeah.
And do you remember your grandparents?
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
And what were their names?
My father's parents were Damon Gray and Rosa Gray.
D-A-M-O-N.
Damon.
Okay.
And my mother's parents were Fulford and Margaret Peel.
Okay. And your grandfather, Damon, is he the one that you told me was a barber and an undertaker?
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, one time he was the undertaker for the village, and he drove a truck delivering supplies. He'd go pick them up off boats.
Okay.
He worked at the porpoise factory.
Oh, he did?
I don't know a lot about that.
Okay.
But
I think there's an interview with him, maybe.
With my grandfather?
I think so. I'll look into that and see.
That's
If
cool.
there is, I'll get you a copy of that.
I love that.
Yeah.
It wasn't Damon Jr., was it?
I don't think so.
Uh-huh. Wow.
But I'll check and see.
Mm-hmm. That's neat.
Did Damon Jr. work at the porpoise?
No.
Okay.
Must have been Granddaddy.
So where was your grandfather's barber shop?
It was right in his front yard, which is like 2 houses down from the red and white.
Okay, but
Right
right there.
beside the museum now.
Okay.
Which used to be the old Weather Bureau.
Okay, right there. So, did you hang out there often when you were a kid?
Oh yeah. Every day.
Every day?
Every day. I sat on the steps with him. He whittled too. He made birds.
Did he sell those?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Really?
And he made ships.
Wow.
One of the ships is in the museum in
The
Hatteras.
Graveyard of the Atlantic Museum?
He sold it to a lady somewhere away from here, and she donated it to the museum.
Oh, isn't
It
that
was like
fantastic?
it came back home.
That is fantastic.
I remember he would whittle the boat, and Grandma would make the sails.
Okay.
She would set a little sales for it.
And so he sold those?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And he would sit in the kitchen at night and whittle. And he had a cardboard box he sat there and whittled in. And he had a clothesline across the kitchen and he'd hang his birds on. He would do them in steps.
Fantastic.
And they were all in different steps. And he would take a torch and burn them to make them
And
dark red.
did he paint them?
And he would paint the eyes.
Okay.
And a little tip on the wings. He made the wings out of wooden ice cream spoons.
Oh my goodness.
They had the right curve and everything.
Wow.
Yeah. And he had a pattern. He would cut them out, draw that around the spoon, and then cut them.
Do you know if any of those are still around?
Oh yeah, I
They're-
have some.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
Mhm.
Cool.
Yeah,
That
he
is
made
great.
mobiles. I
Great.
remember when I had when I got married, he gave me a mobile. It was hanging over the table at my shower, which was at his house. And then when I had Justin, he made me a seagull mobile. First one was geese.
Oh.
And then he made me one for Justin, and I always had it hanging over his crib.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
So, was the barbershop, was that a pretty busy place?
Yeah, yeah.
Did,
A lot of tourists started coming there, and I guess in the middle 60s, they started coming here to go fishing and started finding out about us. And Granddaddy would always introduce me as his little Indian girl. Because I was so dark. And his great-grandmother was a full-blooded Indian.
Really?
We have a picture of her.
Oh, wow.
It's pretty neat.
His great-grandmother.
No, my great.
Your
Wait a minute. It was his grandmother.
Okay.
His grandmother.
His full-blooded Indian.
Mm-hmm.
But not who she was married to.
No, he wasn't, I don't think.
Okay.
He was a Odin.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you know what kind of work he did?
He was a carpenter. Daddy just told me the neatest story. He built the house that Jane Odin lives in.
Okay.
Right now. He built that house, and Daddy said that he got 10 cents an hour.
Wow.
And he wanted to get some help building it. I don't know if you should put this in here. And Mr. Dan told him if he wanted help, he was going to have to pay him out of his 10 cents.
Oh, okay. So I imagine he
funny.
probably worked alone then,
Yeah,
rather than
probably did.
hire a crew. He would have ended up working for nothing, 10 cents an hour.
Yeah.
Wow, that is great. So, your grandfather's barbershop, I mean, when you were a little kid, were you aware that he was the undertaker too?
I remember one time I was really, really young, and I remember him. There was a funeral home. Let's see, where would that be now? It was right down the street from us. Maybe where Steve Bailey's house is.
Okay.
Right in that area. I remember him going there. And somebody, I remember him saying so-and-so died. I don't remember who.
So you were
But he didn't do that.
a long time.
No, I think Twyford's came in real early and took over that. But I just remember him whittling and cutting hair. He didn't like long hair.
He didn't?
He didn't like, he had a sign in his shop that said, no beetle haircuts.
Oh.
He would not cut beetle
That's
haircuts.
great.
He thought the beetles were just the worst thing that ever happened.
Yeah, probably, evil, corrupting
because they have long hair.
The youth and all. Oh,
Yeah.
that is great.
And I remember seeing him sitting in his lap. I remember seeing them on the Ed Sullivan show the first time. And he just thought they were horrible.
You had mentioned to me that when you were hanging out at your grandfather's barbershop that you noticed that the name of your village, the way it was pronounced, changed.
Yes.
How did you pronounce Hatteras growing up?
We always called it Hatteras.
Hatteras.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then what did it change
And
to?
then the tourists started coming in, and I remember thinking, that's not the way we say it. What? I was so confused because everybody started saying Hatteras.
They were like pronounced that.
Yeah.
That middle part of it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm like, that is not the way we say it. We say Hatteras.
So, do people still say Hatteras?
I don't hear it very often anymore.
You don't?
No, my grandmother called it Hatteras till she was 96 when she died, and she still called it Hatteras.
Mm-hmm. But that's sort of been lost, really, with the newer
I think a lot of the older people called it, and they might still call it Hatteras. But none of the young people do anymore.
Yeah. No. And of course, me being an outsider, I've always said Hatteras. Yeah. Was Hatteras a good place to grow up as a kid?
Oh yeah, it was the best. I wouldn't trade it for anything.
Really?
Yeah.
Whoa.
I wouldn't trade it for nothing. I'm so blessed to have grown up there. It was like one big family. Everybody knew everybody, and
Did you have freedom when you were a kid? Could you run around the village? And did you ever do anything like, did you go to the beach or did you go to the Sound?
Yeah, when I got a little older, we would go, a bunch of girls would go to the beach. But when I was younger, I lived with my grandparents until I was 7.
Okay.
And we built our house at Bread and Coffee Ridge.
And where is that compared to where your grandfather's house was?
That was right beside, it's Carolee Darren Road.
Okay.
Right beside.
Okay. Bread and Coffee Ridge?
Bill Balance's gas station. Yeah, that's what it was originally called, Bread and Coffee Ridge.
I wonder where that name came
I don't know.
from. That is
Maybe all we had was bread and coffee.
That's great. That's great.
But when I was younger and still lived at Granddaddy's, we would go down to the docks and jump off the docks and swim. And I remember I got in trouble for that because they told me not to do it, and Mom and Daddy told me not to ever jump in that water again because there was all kinds of dead fish, and they would clean the fish and throw them right in there, and all kinds of, it was dangerous swimming there. It was dirty.
Did you ever do it again?
No, never did.
So, did you ever move away from Hatteras?
Yeah, later on, the first time I ever moved away was, I turned 21 that winter. A bunch of girls moved down to Florida, Cocoa Beach, to waitress for the winter when we lost our jobs here for the winter. Yeah, I turned 21. That was the first time I ever moved away.
Oh my goodness. So, did you like it down there?
Yeah, I did.
Did you miss home?
Yeah, I didn't, because I came back. I came back in May. I think we left in October and came back in May. That was long enough. And my grandfather died while I was gone that winter.
Oh, yeah, that's sad.
Yeah, and I didn't get home for his funeral. And I've always regretted that.
That is sad. When you were growing up, did you eat a lot of seafood?
Yeah. My favorite seafood
is
you're gonna die. Was turtle.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I love turtle hash.
It was made like a hash.
Yeah, Grandma would parboil it for about 8 hours.
Okay.
It was real tough meat.
Okay.
And
I've never had turtle, so I
yeah,
don't
a lot
know.
of people haven't.
Uh-huh.
And she would make it like you do beef hash with potatoes and onions.
Okay. Okay.
And it was really chewy.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to explain, and salty, and
Good.
Oh, it was delicious. That was my favorite. And crabs. We ate a lot of crabs, stewed crabs.
Stewed crabs.
Yeah.
And how did your grandmother prepare those, and what was that like?
Stewed crabs with potatoes and dumplings and gravy that would run down your arms
Oh.
to your elbows.
Yeah. Messy.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Yeah, it was delicious. Yeah, I remember eating it. We had a lot of crabs and fish.
You had told me when you were in high school, I guess, that when the school, a teacher there decided to do sea chest publication, and that you were involved in that. Do you remember exactly what went on and how you got involved and who the teacher was?
The teacher was Miss Duranko, Mildred Duranko, and it was her idea, and she took the class ahead of me and my class, and she chose Don Burris out of the class ahead of me, Don Burris, which is Calvin and Millie's son,
Okay.
and he's passed away now,
Right.
and me out of my class, and she flew us to Raven Gap, Georgia.
Okay.
And we went to a workshop there. A school was already doing this. It was called Foxfire.
Okay.
And so we stayed there a week, and we went on interviews with them, with their magazine, and went up in the mountains and interviewed old people, and it was really neat.
What did Mrs. Duranko teach?
English.
English.
She was the English teacher. So this,
Okay. Was she from here?
no.
Do you know anything about her?
I don't know how she got here. I know her husband and Uncle Junior were friends.
Okay.
I think they came here vacationing and decided to move here, and she was the English teacher. I remember she taught Alice Cooper. I'll never forget that. She bought her annual in and had a picture of Alice Cooper in her class.
Oh, you're kidding me. Oh, that is,
Yeah.
that is something. So, what was that experience in Georgia with the kids, the mountain kids and all? And
That was the first time I had ever been on an airplane.
Oh,
And
okay.
that far away from home.
Okay.
I think I was in the 10th grade. Yeah. So
And was that frightening?
Wow.
Or
Oh yeah.
it was?
Yeah. But I had Don. I don't think Don had ever flown either.
So,
And yeah, we learned about the camera and what do you call them? Recorders.
okay.
Yeah. And we learned how to translate and, not translate. Transcribe.
Yeah. Which is hard to do.
Yeah. We learned how to do that.
Okay.
And we went way up in the mountains and interviewed a lady named Aunt Airy, they all called her. Lived way up on the top of a mountain by herself. And it was hard getting up her road. It was real bumpy.
What an experience.
Yeah, and we worked in her garden and cut her firewood. I have a picture of Don carrying a bunch of firewood.
Oh, that's great. So when you left there and you came back, were you and Don, like, I guess you were sort of the experts, or you had a better idea of how your classes were going to was it, with Sea Chest, was it the whole school participated?
No,
or
it was just our 2 classes.
just 2 classes, 10th and 11th grade?
Yeah.
Okay. So, what did you do when you got back? Did you go out and interview people?
We started interviewing. We got our...
Do you remember?
I don't know how she bought all those cameras and tape recorders. I don't know who bought them, but we had a lot of cameras and tape recorders, and we were so excited because we'd get to go out of school.
Right.
Remember Kathy Gaskins, which is Kathy McKenzie now, and Beth O'Neill, and Eddie Williams, and I went and interviewed Miss Cynthia Rollinson.
And who is Miss Cynthia Rollinson?
She's Shelley Rollinson's aunt.
Okay.
And she lived in Rocky Rollinson, which I think was her husband. I think
Oh.
the name.
Okay.
She lived on that big house right on the curve on the left, big 2-story
Yes,
white house. That's where she lived.
Okay.
And we interviewed her about making yopon tea.
Okay.
How to make
so
yopon
she had
tea.
made yopon
Mhm.
tea.
Yep.
Fantastic.
Yep. So that's a story in there.
And right away, did you know that you were going to put the stories in a publication? That
yeah.
would be.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
That must have been a pretty complicated process to get it all laid out and
Yeah.
ready to be printed.
Yeah.
Do you remember how much those publications sold for?
Wow. No, I don't.
Yeah.
I don't remember. It wasn't much.
Mm-hmm.
And I know we sold subscriptions. You could buy a year subscription. It's probably in the book how much they were.
Yeah,
I
I'm
think
sure it is. I don't remember either, but
I'll have to look and see if I have any of those. I'm sure I do.
did you do other interviews or were you involved in other parts of getting the sea chest ready to be printed?
I think that was the only interview I really did. I did a lot of transcribing
Okay.
and editing.
And
And then the next year I couldn't do it because I had to take English.
oh, okay. What a shame.
Yeah, they wouldn't
What a
let me do
shame.
it because I had to have English.
I can't remember when they stopped producing the
No, I
sea
don't
chest. But I know as a vacationer, I used to pick up copies when I would come here. So I'm sure they couldn't have cost very much money because I didn't have much money.
Yeah,
No.
I'll have to see. I'll find my old copy and let you know about that.
Yeah. Do you remember anything about the other topics that people talked about in the interviews? You had mentioned your interview was about making yopon tea.
Let's see. I think there was some on fishing.
Probably.
Yeah. I
They're
haven't looked at a magazine in so long.
Yeah.
I can't remember.
Definitely need to look those up and find copies of them. I think that would be really great to have. When you were a kid, do you remember the Pirates Jamboree?
Oh yeah.
What was that?
I think they did it to promote the island. I think was the whole idea of it was to
Okay.
promote tourism.
Okay.
And they went to Washington D.C. all dressed like pirates.
Really?
There was a picture of them, a bunch of them, in their costumes sitting on the White House steps,
Cool.
the Capitol steps.
So this was probably all to promote the area and get tourists here.
Yeah.
And did that start in the 50s or the 60s? Or how
yeah.
old were you when you remember going to it?
I think it was in the early 60s.
Okay. And did you get dressed up?
Yeah.
Did everybody get dressed up?
Yeah, everybody in the village dressed up. Oh yeah.
So what was
a
your
lot of
typical costume? I mean, you were a little girl pirate?
Yeah, I had a little dress on, a lot of satin, little vest, satin vest. I remember Mama made them all. It had zigzag, that rick-rack around the edges of it, zigzag rick-rack. It was satin. I have a picture of us all, of Margie and Annalie and Rosalice and Debbie and Mona, my Aunt Mona, and my mother. She was putting on somebody's earring. We wore bandanas around our head.
And so what went on, where was the Pirates Jamboree? On the beach?
Yeah, it was right out there. It used to be a ball field. We called it the Ball Diamond. And it's where the Hatteras Melodi office is now. Okay. Right out there, where the motel used to be. There's a bunch of houses there now. It used to be an all open field, big open field.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
And we had a big fish fry, and we had beach buggy races, dory races. That was a lot of fun. We had surf. I guess that was the same one. I don't know. I think the surfboard Sundeskasana. A later one we had called Hatteras Happenings.
What was that?
It was another big festival. Let's see. Yeah, that was Hatteras Happenings. That was probably in the late 60s or early 70s.
Okay.
Probably late 60s when we had that. It was kind of like the Pirates Jamboree, but we didn't dress up. But the Pirates Jamboree, yeah, we had a parade, and my mother was the queen, and Julian Oneida from Nag's Head was the king. I don't know how they got appointed.
Huh. who chose the queen?
Yeah, I don't know how that came about.
Do you remember if there were many tourists there?
Doesn't seem like it. Seems like, I don't know, there was a lot of people. I've seen a video on YouTube of the beach buggy race. Okay. Have you seen that?
No, I need to look for that.
That's really neat. And the dunes are just full of people standing around watching that beach buggy race. That was a lot of fun.
No, I haven't seen that. I'll have to look that up.
We had a dog show, we had a dog contest. We all dressed our dogs up. Okay. I had a little dog. My aunt made him a ballerina costume, and I was in a ballerina costume.
Was it a one-day event or a weekend? Do you remember?
No, I don't remember how long it lasted.
Yeah. It sounds fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. Were there other, you mentioned Hatteras happenings, do you remember other special celebrations when you were growing up? Or were those the two major ones that you were aware of?
Yeah, that's the two main. I know when I was real young, they used to have some kind of music talent show at the old library in Hatteras, right where it was the old school, and part of it we had a auditorium in it and a library.
Okay.
And Miss Lily Peel was the librarian. I used to go there and help her bind the books.
Bind the books?
Yeah, we would. They were falling apart, and she showed me how to. I don't know. Put this piece of tape in to hold it together again. I'd go there and help her bind the books.
But that didn't. That was where the library is now. But it didn't look the way the library looks now. Okay.
No. It was a 2-story building. It had a big auditorium in it, and it had a kitchen. It was part of the old school.
Okay.
And because I remember Grandma and Loney Austin. Grandma sang and Loney played the piano.
Okay.
And I remember them doing "Won't You Come Home, Bill Bailey."
Uh-huh.
That was fun. And then I remember they were dressed up like black people, had their face painted black.
Uh-huh.
I don't know. I need to ask my mother about that.
Yeah.
She'd be a good one to interview about that.
Okay, yeah. I'd like to talk to her about that. During this time that we're talking about, was the fire station right there next to the library? Do you remember?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know when that was built, but yeah, because we used to have movies there for a while. We'd have movies on Saturday night. When I was a little girl, we'd go there in the auditorium part.
Uh-huh.
And that's where we had our Girl Scout meetings, and we had square dances.
So it was really like a community center.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep. And the fire station was there, and we had picnic tables all out there for in the middle.
Tell me a little bit about your commercial fishing and crabbing career. Michael Peel told me when I was talking to him about a month or two ago, he was like, you really need to talk to Melodi. She fished, she and Carol Etheridge. So how did that come about?
Well, I was working at the Atlantic View restaurant. It's my daddy's restaurant.
Waitressing?
Waitressing. And I got married at 18 and divorced at 21 and had a son. So I was a single mother and wasn't making enough money. So I decided, well, Trisha Midget, she was from Rodanthe, but she lived in Hatteras at the time. And she didn't have a job either. I think she was waitressing too. Anyway, we decided, well, you know, why, if the guys do it, why can't we? You know, they make really good money. And so a friend of ours gave us a boat to use, and we bought us some crab pots and put them out there and started crabbing.
When you bought the crab pots, were they all fully rigged? Or?
No, we had to rig them.
Okay.
Yeah, we had to rig them.
So what did you have to do to get them ready?
We had to put weights in them, and we had to put a piece of, we cut inner tubes, old tire inner tubes, and made a flap for the trap to keep the fish, our bait in.
Okay.
We'd stuff that in there, and we had to hook that on there, and we had to put the line and the buoys on there. We used a wood burner to put our initials in our buoy.
Okay.
So everybody would know they were ours. And
do you remember how many crab pots you set?
we had 150.
Okay.
It's a lot.
And
we pulled them by hand.
Was that hard?
Pot puller, yeah. Oh yeah. We got very muscular. My uncle told me I looked like a linebacker. Yeah, I have big shoulders and arms.
And where did you sell their crabs?
We sold it to Quality Seafood.
Okay.
Which is, I guess it's Michael Peel's now, place now.
Okay.
Yep, we sold it to Quality. And the guys picked on us so bad.
They did?
They didn't like us girls down there in their territory.
They didn't?
No, they didn't like us at all.
Really?
They
now
tried
I'm
to,
surprised.
Yeah. They didn't take us serious. I think they thought we were just messing around. So we would go, remember one morning we got up early and we went down there and tried to start our motor, wouldn't start, and we pulled and pulled and pulled, and we were there early. We always tried to get out and get back real early because we had to go work at the restaurant.
Right.
So we were still trying when the guys started showing up, and one of them came over and looked at our motor, and somebody had switched our spark plug wires.
Oh.
So they were always sabotaging us.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So one day somebody pulled our plug out.
Oh,
We went down there and our boat was sunk.
Oh, no. How long did you do the crabbing with Tricia then?
We did it a couple summers.
Uh-huh.
And then I did it with, who did I do it with? Oh, Dawn.
Okay.
Yeah. Tricia didn't want to do it anymore. And Dawn, Austin, and I did it
Okay.
together. And
was that the same boat and same
I-
number of crab pots, do you remember?
yeah.
Uh-huh. And was she waitressing also?
Yeah.
Okay.
We're both waitressing in Atlantic View. And Hamilton and Justin were little boys.
Okay.
Let's see, how old were they? Probably about 4,
Uh-huh.
maybe, and we would take them with us.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, and one day we had our pots set on the other side of the reef, and we had a hard time finding Barney's slough to go
Okay.
through or come back. We could find it going out, but when we started to come home, we could never find that slough, so we'd end up on top of the reef.
Okay.
And we'd have to walk across the reef. She'd get on one side of the boat, and I'd get on the other, and we'd pull the boat because it was real shallow, back up to our knees maybe. And we'd walk across that reef, and they sat in the boat and cried, wanting to go home. And we'd have to pour water on our crabs to keep them from dying. What a mess.
Oh my goodness.
And then one day I remember we were out there and we broke down. Luckily we didn't have them with us that day. And it was in the afternoon. We were way out there and our motor died and we just were floating. We didn't know what to do.
Did you have a radio or
No.
anything?
Nothing.
So what did you do?
I don't know what would ever happen to us. But we heard a boat coming out there. I don't know where they were going out there. Maybe out to the old fishing pier out there to fish. But we could hear their motor and hear them talking. And we started jumping up and down, screaming. And they heard us or saw us.
Okay.
And it was John Oakes.
Okay.
And they came over and pulled us in.
Okay.
And years later when I worked for him at the quarterdeck, he used to tell people that was the best catch he ever caught. Catching he went fishing one day and caught 2 girls.
Oh, geez. So, did you like crabbing?
Yeah, I did.
You did?
I loved it. It was so peaceful.
Hi, Molly.
Hi, Rob. Very peaceful out there. Early in the morning, the sound would be slick calm. No noise, and we'd get our work done, you know. We made good money. That was back then. You made good money crabbing. One time the market fell out, so when Tricia and I were still crabbing, we decided we would pick crab meat and sell it to Daddy at the restaurant.
Oh.
So we went to Miss Lola Gaskin's and she showed us how to clean crabs, pick crabs, and she would cut them from knuckle to knuckle. Long ways.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Just like cut it right in half. And the lump crab meat would be right in the middle, and you just take your knife and knock the lump crab meat out, and then all the other crab meat was in little tunnels. And you
just
take your knife and just scrape it right out.
I bet you that was some good crab meat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think Daddy paid us like $8 a pound.
Wow.
For the lump, which was not very much, but back then it was good. But my house smelled like a crab house.
Did you
That
ever?
didn't last long.
Did you ever do any other type of commercial fishing?
Yeah, Trish and I, when the crabbing fell out, Trish and I got gill nets and put that in the Sound
And
in the wintertime.
okay, so what were you catching or trying to catch?
Probably trout and jeez, I don't even remember.
Maybe
What else?
bluefish?
Yeah, probably trout and bluefish.
Or maybe croaker? Did you catch
Croakers?
croaker?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, croakers, trout, bluefish. It was cold. We had our yellow topsider gear on. I remember one day we came back and it was cold and windy, and we had our box of fish, and we were taking it off the boat, and she was on one end of the box and I was on the other, and we stepped over to the dock, and I guess when I stepped over I kind of pushed the boat out.
Oh
And
no.
Trisha was shorter than I am,
Uh-huh.
so she didn't make it. And I remember seeing her eyes. She had great big blue eyes. And I remember seeing her eyes huge as she's going down in the water.
Oh yeah.
Cold too.
Oh. And did you sell the fish to quality?
To quality, yeah.
So what did you prefer, crabbing or gill netting?
Crabbing. Yeah, it was too cold drop netting.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it was fun though. I always liked seeing what we would bring up when we were pulling the net in.
I guess that would be fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, you would
It's
never
like-
really know.
Yeah, kind of like treasure hunting.
Uh-huh.
And then one winter I went out in the ocean with David Price and Seki, drop netting.
Oh my goodness.
That was kind of scary because it was rough, and I remember going through the inlet, just holding on as tight as I could, and my feet coming up off the floor. Hitting
Did you get
it's like
seasick?
a 3 set of waves.
No?
No, never got seasick. But that was cold. I remember wrapping up in the net coming home, trying to get warm.
Wrapping up in the net?
Mm-hmm. That was
That
laying
must
on
have
the
been
boat.
cold.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It was freezing.
Yeah.
That was hard work too.
And when you did that, did you go far out into the ocean? I mean, could you still see the island and land?
Yeah, we didn't go out that far.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. But we had to go through that inlet, and it was always rough in the inlet.
Uh-huh.
Seemed like in the wintertime.
Wow.
That was scary.
Um,
Yeah, that was it. And then one day, I don't know who was with me. I remember my friend Dee was with me. We were coming in. We had been out fishing the gill net. And it was in the early fall. And, I don't know, we might have been crabbing. I think it was just me and her. Maybe Trisha. But we hit something. I think in the old days they would take the marlin they caught and just dump them outside the breakwater.
uh-huh.
And I think we hit a marlin, but it knocked our motor off the back of the boat.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and it took the gas line with it, and so it spun around on top of the water for a minute, and then sunk. So there we sat in that boat with no motor, and a big old private yacht comes, pulls up, and said, "You girls got problems?" I said, "No, we just got rid of our problem." Because we were always breaking down. So somebody towed us in, and Spurgeon and David Price went diving and got our motor for us. It was Mark McCracken's motor we borrowed.
Oh, you had borrowed the,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had somebody's boat, and I remember it was Mark McCracken's motor he let us use.
Were there other women fishing or crabbing at that time?
Carol Tigg.
Okay.
I don't know what her married name is now.
Etheridge, I think.
Etheridge.
Yeah.
Carol.
Okay.
Just us and Carol was the only
Okay.
women that did it.
And
Yeah.
did she crab also?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when did you?
I don't think they mess with her like they mess with us.
When did you stop crabbing and fishing, and why did you stop?
Oh, I couldn't work on a motor. I got tired of breaking down out there with no radio, and we were always breaking down. That's why I quit. And then, like the crabbing kept, as soon as we'd start catching crabs, the market would drop out. They wouldn't give us any money, and it got to be too much work for not enough money.
Okay. So the economic return wasn't enough to alleviate the aggravation.
Yeah, and our fuel bill. And it was fun, though. It was a good experience.
What would you say makes this community or this island special, different from other places?
Now or back then?
Back then.
Back then. I think because everybody knew everybody. And everybody helped everybody. It was just a real close-knit community. I remember every car you passed, you knew who it was. The only way you didn't know them is if they got a new car.
Amazing.
Yeah. And everybody waved to everybody.
It's not like that now.
No. Yeah.
Do you think the islands change for the worse or the better? Or is it a mixed bag?
I think, there's good and bad. I think it's easier times now. I think it's easier to make money now.
More jobs.
Yeah, there's more jobs, more opportunities. But it sure was nicer back then, I think. Because it was so... We didn't have that many tourists here. It was just mostly locals. And it seems like we got together more back then. We did more stuff together.
You mean
we visited more.
More socializing and entertaining each other.
Yeah. It doesn't seem like people to get together anymore. I don't know if it's because of the internet. Everybody sits home on the internet now.
I think that has a lot to do with it. And probably too, cable TV.
Yeah, TV.
I noticed before we got cable here, like Rob and I, nights I wasn't working at the restaurant, we would go visit somebody and play games or cars or something.
Yeah.
And it seemed like when we got cable TV, it was like, sit in our living room. Yeah. So it definitely...
We call that BC, before cable.
Made a big difference, for sure.
Yeah, because we used to all get together, all the guys and all the girls would come to my house and we'd play poker in the wintertime. All the Roselles and...
Yeah.
What's his name? Mike Naughton. Remember him?
I don't.
No?
I don't.
Bob McBride. We'd all play poker. Every night seems like we play poker. Penny poker.
Yep. Yeah. It was good times. Different times, for sure.
Yeah. And we ride on the beach every day.
Does that upset you?
Yes, very much. That really very much upsets me because I'm not going to buy a beach permit. I'm not going to pay to drive on what I feel is my beach, I don't think it's right. We were promised to be able to use our beach, and now it's like they're stopping us. Yeah. I mean, how long has it been since we've been allowed to go to the point? Forgot what it even looks like out there. And we used to drive just every day. We would drive from Hatteras to the point and back, looking for seashells, and there wouldn't be nobody out there. I'd hardly ever see a car.
lovely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had a little
Really.
Volkswagen that Daddy cut the rims at the fender wells at, put big tires on it, and
Oh,
62 Volkswagen.
wow.
Could go anywhere on the beach.
Wow. So yeah, that's a huge change.
Yeah.
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 So really, it's not just a matter of no access for fishermen out there. It's no access for people who just want
Yeah.
to do other types of
Yeah.
recreation
Yeah.
or beachcombing and that
Yeah.
sort of stuff. But you wouldn't buy a permit.
No.
Uh-huh.
I'm not going to buy their permit.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
It's like me saying, okay, it's all right, I'll buy a permit.
Uh-huh.
No,
Yeah.
they're not going to get my $150 or whatever.
Right.
I
Yeah.
think that's what it is.
I don't even
No.
remember what it is.
Yeah. The only time I get to drive on the beach is when my friend comes for a visit. And she buys a week pass for $50.
Uh-huh.
And I went with her one time, and I won't go back again because it really upset me sitting there listening to their silly film that you have to watch.
Right.
And it's like, oh, I wasn't very nice to the girl.
Uh-huh.
Now I apologize later because she came in the store. It's like, oh, I'm so sorry.
So, do you think that's been a major change for the island, for people who live here?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
it's affected everybody. I think it's hurt our tourism.
Uh-huh.
I don't care what people say. I think it's hurt us because I've seen a big change in the fall fishermen.
Uh-huh.
We used to have a lot. When I first started working at the liquor store, every winter, the fall and winter, a lot of older men would come in.
Uh-huh.
That would come down here just to fish. And now
Right.
not many of them come anymore.
Uh-huh.
And I
So
know
it
that they didn't all die. So
Right.
you know,
Yeah.
just where did they go?
Yeah.
And
Exactly.
I think it's because there's so much of the beach closed, and they have to pay to go out there. I think they're going somewhere else.
Are you optimistic that those kind of issues and other issues that we face here, like the bridge and all that, will be resolved?
I don't know if it will in my lifetime.
Uh-huh. Seems like things do drag out,
I
don't
know.
they?
I know. And, I mean, I'm this new, what is it? What do you call it? The thing that just happened with them. I think they're going forward a little bit more now. I can't think of what it's called.
Yeah, neither can I.
But I think we're going forward with the bridge, but I don't know. It's just really taking a long time, and it's so old. Really
Yeah.
scares me to drive over it.
Does it?
Mm-hmm. Because I know, as bad as my luck is, it's going to fall when I'm on there.
Yeah, it is scary when you think about it.
Yeah.
It really
It's
is.
way past its
Mhm.
lifespan.
Would you want to live any other place?
No,
Okay.
no.
No.
I've thought about maybe sometime moving to the country because I have horses. So it would be easier living in the country with horses because you have grass.
Right. Yeah. So
But
yeah. How many horses do you have?
I have 3.
And so you have to feed them hay all the time?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
And I wouldn't have to do that if I lived somewhere where there was grass and had a big pasture.
Uh-huh.
They could just graze on the grass. But so yeah, it costs a lot more to have horses here because there's no grass.
Have you had horses a long time?
Yeah. I think Lacey was 12 when we got a horse. And we still have him.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, she was 12. Got it for her birthday. And he was 4.
Oh my goodness.
She's 27 now.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's old, but I don't know how old
Yeah.
horses live to be.
Usually around 30.
Okay.
Yeah. And we have one that's close to 30 that she's just got didn't work out at Equine Adventures, so
Okay. So
she fell in love with him and had to have him.
you're a good woman. With a kind heart.
I know. And then we have another one that we've had since she was 2 months old. She came with her mother.
Oh my goodness.
And then when she was weaned off her mother, they came and took her mother, and
Okay.
so she's I think she's about 7 now. So, but it's a lot of fun having horses.
But I can understand how probably some days you do think living in the country would make that easier.
Yeah.
For sure. Do you worry about them when a storm is coming?
No.
No?
I did at first, but no. They and I think they know when a storm is coming.
Do they?
They start getting real antsy and
Like change
you know,
in their
yeah,
behavior?
they run around and start throwing their head around. Yeah, but then when the storm comes, they go in the stall and they stay in there.
Hunker down, just
Yeah.
like we do,
Yeah.
I guess. Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Melody, is there anything else you'd like to share for the record?
Can't think of anything.
Okay. I appreciate your time today. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
See, that wasn't too torturous.
Yeah.